Dear world leaders, dear delegates, can you imagine a world where we managed to find a solution to this large issue of carbon sequestration and adaptation to climate change? Can you imagine a future where we managed to work on a hyper-locally approach to build resilient communities by finding the most innovative solutions? Envision a future where our children and grandchildren would see the protection of nature and our shared heritage of biodiversity as the highest priority. Being a Costa Rica-born representative, I genuinely and truly believe that such a reality is possible by bridging innovative technology with the protection of indigenous people and rainforest communities as their role as being one of the most important forest guardians. But why is this important? Because based on the UN Department of Public Information, indigenous people make up about 6% of our humanity. And yet they are responsible for the protection of over 80% of our remaining biodiversity on planet Earth. My home country, Costa Rica, has been paving the path into being one of the most regenerative economies. We're famous for starting to shift our mindset in protecting degraded land and actually conserving that already in the 1970s. And with our decarbonization and adaptation plan, we are now being leaders and paving the path into being almost 100% carbon neutral. With more than 30% of territory designated to conservation, we also play a crucial part in the protection of 5% of all species. And this is why, especially for us, it is really important to shine some more light on the pledge made at COP26, where 17 philanthropic foundations and several nations committed to funding $1.7 billion to support indigenous peoples and forest communities. Here, we want to just stress the importance on how important it will be to understand the local situation, the local challenges, and really work on an equal framework together with those indigenous peoples. Yet we also understand that it may be very complex and it may require a lot of bureaucracy because it's oftentimes difficult to release development aid directly to indigenous people and local communities. But in our country right now, we're having a lot of public policies and public conversation around that, where, for example, the general mechanism of consultancy has been creating a bridge on how to create discussions and build policies in collaboration with indigenous people. Therefore, our proposal for COP27 is to help establish an inclusive and participatory mechanism for indigenous communities in the multilateral decision-making. In this spirit, Costa Rica would like to note that it is our priority to work with the finance negotiation agenda in first creating a framework with our country's experiences on how to collaborate and identify a step-by-step guide to work closely with indigenous communities. And second, remember and work closely with the negotiating countries to basically agree on the execution of this pledge. In this climate finance negotiation, ultimately it's not about tokenizing sequestered carbon. It is vital that self-determination, consent and mutual respect is covered as we protect the rise of the custodians of natures and agents of change who are the indigenous people of our world. Thank you so much for your attention.